Oh, okay. Yeah, not quite as tidy as I'd hoped. It is just rubbish. Oh, God. Today, we are going to pop around to a property. We've taken over the management and inherited the tenant with it. The rent was in arrears when we took it over.
When the rent wasn't repaid, both parties came up with a plan at the tenancy tribunal to get rent payments back on track.
For a couple of weeks, it went really well. And then we had a wee complaint from a couple of neighbours about a couple of parties they'd had. There was glass thrown and it left the property.
When rent payments stopped again to the tune of $1,700, the tenant was required to leave the property too. Jane's job is to get the house back on the rental market and try and recoup the landlord's losses. And she needs to find out what the former tenant has left behind.
Ooh, just a bit pongy. These are not quite as tidy as I'd hoped. Oh, someone's beloved doll. How could they leave that behind?
Jane would have preferred to be able to relet this place straight away, but already the writing's on the wall.
Obviously, the child is quite keen on tearing wallpaper off, because the owner had been in here prior to this tenant and re-wallpapered, so it was pretty tidy. Perhaps the vacuum cleaner broke down. Oh, well, I'm assuming we've gone. Quite a nice crock pot there if anyone wants it. A wee bit careful about rummaging around in the cupboards in case something comes out to meet you. Oh, there's a mouse trap in there. Normally they had some money. That stuff's not cheap, is it? They are cool bottles. I like that. A lot of it's not actually rubbish. It's just stuff she doesn't want. I just better go and have a look out the back and see what's out there.
Jane's hoping the outside is in a better state, but all signs point to no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not quite as tidy as I'd hoped. Oh, God. It's a bit ick, isn't it? It is just rubbish. We have a tradesman that'll come in, bring his trailer, sort through it, but resale on most of the stuff is minimal. It's actually more hassle to sell it than it is to dump it. There's quite a few books there that we'll probably take down to the book fair. We might get something for the fridge, but most of the rest of it is just rubbish, so it will just go to the tip.
There's one place left to look, the shed.
God, hopefully nothing's alive in here. Ooh. Yeah, a little rank.
Nothing's alive in here, but it smells like something's died.
So yeah, pretty much just rubbish again.
As well as the $1,700 in rent arrears already owed, the tenant is also up for whatever it costs to de-stink, get rid of all the rubbish...
Reader's Digest, that everyone. Clearly she didn't read this one.
and get the veggie patch back on the straight and narrow.
The lawns clearly need mowing. Oh, it does work. Awesome. I think we should be able to keep this one under 1,000. There's quite a few loads to the tip. The carpet clean in a house this size is probably going to be a couple of $100. Getting the gardens back up to scratch might be $200 to $300.
Jane can already tell that the former tenant's bond won't cover the clean-up costs and the money owed in rent arrears. So she gathers the evidence for a second visit to the tenancy tribunal.
We'll be popping off to tribunal to try and get that money back to the landlord.
One tenancy tribunal hearing later, the property is ready for a follow-up inspection.
We're going back to our property that we took over from the landlord to try and help her out.
Since Jane's last visit, the property has been purged and pruned and is about to be peopled by new tenants.
So we're just making sure it's up to our standards to re-tenant, as we've got quite a bit of interest in it. There were, I think, about 6 loads to the tip, and not a lot of it, unfortunately, was recyclable. There were a few books that went to the book fair.
Last time Jane visited, the property stank to high heaven.
Okay, so it smells considerably better. Very nice. The carpets have come up fantastic. Okay. Wow, our cleaners do a fantastic job.
Now it shines with a cleanliness that can only be described as next to godliness.
And lovely quotes, all been cleaned off the walls.
And outside is practically a Garden of Eden compared to before.
Oh, look at that veggie garden. It's actually almost a veggie garden again. Gosh, you can walk out the door. Isn't that a change? So we had mattresses, books, rubbish, just a pile of basically out here, which is all gone. Very happy.
The cost of the clean-up was covered by the previous tenant's bond.
That's my happy face.
And after the second tenancy tribunal hearing, the remaining $1,500 in rent arrears is now being paid back to the landlord in weekly instalments.
Yeah, so I'm really happy with that. The work that we needed to get completed to re-tenant it has been done and to a satisfactory standard, and it's all ready for a new tenant. Someone who'll love it this time.